Welcome to the video component of the book. I fought against doing this because when I read the routine that this video is about, I understand it and I could go out and perform it, but I left out a lot of the subtleties in the writing, and I think that that's some of the strongest parts of it. So I didn't want to be selfish and keep these back to myself, so I decided to make this video for you. I wanted to do something special with it, but with what's going on with coronavirus, we're recording this here, but the content will be the same. So without wasting any more of your time, we'll get into the mechanics, the subtleties and the details that make this routine such a special routine for me. So what you'll need is you'll need 2 black aces, and these go face to face, and you'll need a duplicate card, and in this case we use the King of Diamonds because it's the duplicate card that comes with the Remedies deck. One of these goes on top of the aces, one of these we'll get back to later. These we put off to the side just now, and I'll explain what you do with them, because I didn't explain in the book. The king, the duplicate king, the king that you will choose from your selection, will be marked here and here with a pencil dot. If you don't know what a pencil dot is, it's just literally a pencil dot in the corners, which allows you to spot it, but because it's such a small marking, the audience shouldn't see it, and that gets put into the deck. I'm going to place it on top just because this one hasn't got a pencil dot on it. That's just save me having to search for it. Now, before I get into the mechanics, I want to talk to you a little bit about this routine and as to why it works and how to sell it. So, in the book I mentioned that I'm not going to tell you my patter to go along with it, because I stand by that. I'm not going to teach you that here. I'm going to teach you some of it, but I'm not going to teach you how I do it, because I think what makes this routine work is personality and letting your own personality and your own story unfold with it. Anybody who's ever seen me perform will know that the way that I perform, it's not about the hardest moves. I will take the simplest move or the simplest idea and I'll explode it into a bigger thing, and that's through word, and that's through sentence, and that's through acting. And that's what this routine is. This routine is a story. So this is definitely not an opener. This is most definitely a middle or a close, and I've used it for both. But it's a story, and you're telling them a personal experience. That's the way that I do it. I tell them about a time that I was in New York on holiday, and you tell them about the Monty scam, and you kind of paint it like this. You talk about how I want to tell you guys a story about a vacation I was on 3 years ago. I was in New York, and if any of you have been to New York, you'll know of something called the 3-card Monty scam. Is that something you've heard of before? And then they'll say yes or no. You say, for you who don't know it, what it is it involves 2 black cards and a red card. Now what they do, and it's a scam, it's a complete scam, you cannot win. And if you ever see this, don't ever play it, because you will lose your money, and you'll lose a lot of money. But what it is they'll take the red card and then they'll hide it within the black, and they'll mix it, and they'll ask you to bet where the red card is. And if you bet, you lose, okay? Now, after the explanation of that, you say, but I want to take you back to what happened to me. As I was going through New York, it's called a pod. I seen this Monty pod, and I was like, and I love watching them. So I went over to watch this, and it was something I'd never seen before. And I've seen a lot of Monty scams. I've seen all of them. I've seen all the variants. I've read all the books on them because they fascinate me, because it shows human nature and its greed. brings it down to its core of how people are by nature greedy, and they want to take advantage of what to them looks like free money, but the scammer always wins. And it's always fascinated me. But I went over and I stood in the back so I didn't get drawn into it, and I watched this hustle unfold. Is this something that you'd want to see? Is this something you'd want me to show you? And you'll say, yeah, of course they do. You say, great, because when people start saying yeah, you say, great, because I'd never seen anything like this before. I won't tell you what happened, but I had to get my phone out, because what I was witnessing was unbelievable. I stood in the back and I filmed this because I knew that the minute this was over I wanted to go back to the hotel room and just break down what this guy was doing and figure out for myself, so I could understand these new ideas, because I'd never seen anything like it. Stop. Right? That there has nothing to do. I've not done any magic. I've not done any trickery. I've not done anything. I've just told you a lie, because it never happened, right? But you've done a few things. Number one, you've got them invested in your story by agreeing to wanting to know and to hear more about it. You've got them invested because it's a long story. This is an unfolding story, so you can't have somebody with lack of attention taking part. So you want them to say yes, 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 tell me. The fact that you've told them it's a scam, people are genuinely concerned about scams. So by telling them, I'm going to show you this, they feel like they might save themselves some money, or they might not lose money the next time they go and fall victim to it. That's again something that I left at the book. It's the storytelling at the start. There's a few of the things that I say in there which I'm going to leave out of this, because they're very personal to the way that I do this. But the point that I wanted to make there was I've done nothing magical up until that point, but I've got people's undivided attention. Rather than just going and saying, watch this, we'll take 2 black cards, or 2 red cards, or we'll take a black and a red card, or whatever. And if we do this, watch, they change places. Wow. But what I've just laid out there is different. We're both doing the same routine, cards changing places, red card, black card. But now mine's is an unravelling story that affected me in some way. And because this is a middle, or a closer, you've already shown them that you're very proficient with cards or magic or whatever you want to call it. You're very proficient in what you can do. So when you're telling them this blew you away, like you'd never seen anything like this before, like if you've done your job right up until this point, they're going to assume this is fucking otherworldly, right? So I really wanted to make that a point. Okay, so hopefully that comes across well. Now we'll get into the kind of mechanics of it here and how it's performed. So, where are we? So these, So these go into a knee clip. Now if you don't know what a knee clip is if you imagine this here is the joint of your knee, they clip in the joint and they go with this corner sticking out like this. Okay? So that means you can come under your knee and take these and load these into either a gambler's cop, a flat palm, and you can do it with tenkai as well if you use the insides. Okay, so if you don't know what a knee clip is, you can actually hold out 4 lots of objects or 4 lots of cards or whatever. You've got your outside, right and left, and your inside, right and left. And they all serve different purposes, like I said. Some are for gambler cops, some are for coming in for tenkai, some are for flat palm, classic palm, So each location serves a different purpose. So if you're doing table work, I strongly suggest you look into actually utilising your knee as a holdout rather than just having it laying in your lap, which is absolutely fine, which I do, but I have more control when I use my knee. So these will be in my knee, as I mentioned. I'll stick these in there just now. If I'm doing this standing up, I'll use, I've got my long jacket has pocket slits, which I've slit in and then sewn up so I can get my hands in and out of these kind of side pockets that were not supposed to be on the jacket, but you don't notice them because they're behind the actual real pockets. Don't recommend cutting up your jackets, just use your knees, okay? Right, so what we'll have at this point here is I used to just say, right, we've got two cards, a red and a black card. Problem with this is if somebody comes to the conclusion these are special cards, they may as well be special cards, because if in their head that's how it's done, that's how it's done. You want to leave them not having an idea of how it's done. In other words, it can't be special cards because right? It doesn't matter if you're using special cards or not. If they think it's special cards, it may as well be. So this card will have a pencil dot here and here, and their card will be a random card, it doesn't matter. What I will do is, after I've explained the story, what happened, I'll say, take any card out. So they'll look through, and I'm using these cards just for contrast, right? But they'll go through and they'll say, okay, I want that one. I'll say, okay, great. And when they're looking through, I'm looking at each corner for the pencil dot on the card, and I'll take that out and I'll say great, and I'll just get rid of these. Now when I perform, I use a lot of movement, a lot of large movements to hide smaller actions. So what I'll do to get these cards to load onto the cards in my knee, I'll drop these on the table and I'll move back. Now this hand's just dropped onto my knee. I'll get these cards ready for a load. I lean forward as if I'm grabbing the bottom of my chair, and then I move my chair back. As I move back, swiping this chair against the wall so it won't move back. As I move back, I swipe these into my hand, square up, and bring them up. Now, at that point, I'll break off here, because now the thickness of this does not look like two cards. And the heat is on the cards just now, because you haven't done anything yet, so something's going to happen with these and they don't know what. So what I'll do is I'll separate here. Now I've got a king behind this, and I've got these. That's a duplicate. So I will separate here, and I'll say, so we've got my card and we've got your card. We're going to get you to keep an eye on your card, and I'm pointing, and I've got my finger laying across here, and I've got these fingers laying across the front here, and this finger laying across here. And I'm going to put my thumb on the corner. It just hides the thickness, okay? So I'm saying, we're going to get you to keep an eye on your card, and we're going to show you this routine, and I'm going to show you this scam on how it played out. So I'll place these back on, and I'll take their card, and I'll say, I want you to keep your eye on your card. And at that point, you get it's a very easy pinky count, okay? And you just place this on top, and you separate over. But the way that you're going to hold these, your middle finger on the outer right, and your thumb right around here, because that allows for, when it spins, that allows for it to be dropped, okay? So you see, the part of the story that you'll see is, so what they'll always do is they'll always give you a few wins to entice you in. So I'm going to ask you if you can just hold your hand out. Now see, I'm holding it ready for the spin. I'm going to ask you just to hold your hand out, and then you go, no, slightly higher. Okay, and I've done that slow to expose. But then you look up and you say, no, slightly higher. right? And I'm in position to, when these hands cross paths again, to put their card in their hand. You just drop and then you place it down. Okay, you're giving eye contact. I mean, that's a bold move, a very bold move, but it works, so don't question it. You'll say, you can hold your hand out, they're seeing the king. If they see the king here, this must be the jack, right? Hold your hand out. Great, slightly higher, perfect, right? You don't look at the move when you're doing it. Look at them. I mean, if you drop the card here, you square up. It's square. You don't need to look. Like, if you don't look and you look at them, they're going to look back at you. So it's just to, again, go over this because this is an important part. Here, hold your hand out. Great, slightly higher, perfect. Drop it in their hand. Okay? And at that point, you keep this obviously hidden because the jack is here and you think the jack is there. So you say, you've just told him you're going to get a couple of easy wins. So you say, so where would you bet the money is? And it's interesting to watch the audience because you'll see the ones who are most engaged. And I talk a little bit about this in the book. And how, and like the audience section of the book, on how to alleviate audience and reactions. But when you say, how much would you bet how much would you bet that where would you bet where the card is, but whatever you want to put it as, right? You make it your own. Look who actually takes part. Look who says 100. I bet it's in my hand, of course. And then keep a note of that because you're going to play up to that later. What you do is you then say, of course it is. Double money, right? So I'm doing that double money there, right? I'm not showing them this. I'm saying, of course it is. Double money. Who wants to win some more? Right? Who wants to win some more? Obviously don't flash this. Who wants to win some more money? Where would you say the jack is now? And they're going to say, in my hand. And you say, well, you would lose. Because it's already happened. And this is what I was talking about. And this is why you don't play these games. Because the king, you don't show the king first. You say, because I have the jack here, and if the jack is here, that means the king is here. You always show the single card last, because if you show the thicker card, that's where the attention ends on. You want to reveal, second reveal. So you say, well, you would have lost, because the jack is here, and the king is in your hand. But that was extremely quick. That's what you say. You've then got a break under here, and you say, I'll give you a chance to win your money back, as they always do. And you say, I'm going to put the jack into your hand. If you could just hold your hand out again, you drop the king into your lap, and you say, but again you'd be too slow. And you ping that out to take attention away from the thick card over here, and you stare at this. So again, just to kind of go over that, it's that was very fast, but I'm going to give you a chance to win your money back. I'm going to place the jack in your hand. I'm going to ask you to again bet where the jack is. Now if you can just hold your hand out, drop onto your lap as they hold the hand out, you say, but you were too slow. And you show this. And you stare at this, so that if you stare at this, people don't look at this. This card is fucking 3-card stick, right? You stare at this and you bring this back and you say, and that's where it got me. Or that's where I was fooled. And you say, this is where it really got me. He took the card back and he started to ask everybody, where would you say the black card is? Top or bottom? Top or bottom? What about you? What about you? What about you? What about you? Top or bottom? Black card here, black card here. And then he started to work the crowd. This is the part of the story I would tell. And he started to work the crowd. He says, I'm going to give everybody a chance to double their money. And I'm like, oh, it's a 50-50 chance. In my head, I'm like, it's a 50-50 chance, so I might lose, but I could double my money, and that's fair. This must be one of the wins before he tries to take it all, so I'm going to take part in this one. So then you just risk kill this back, and I've just done this, right? You risk kill it back, and you keep that break there. Okay, and you can transfer breaks. Okay, and make sure you do transfer breaks. Don't hold breaks like rigid breaks. Like you can't use this hand because it's holding the break. Learn to be fluid. Learn to say, what about you? So you want things on top or bottom? Say top. Say, you think it's on top? And they'll say, no, I think it's on the bottom. You say, I have no idea. I say, what would you bet? You say, I don't know. It's 50-50. And then as the people are kind of like saying, say, what about you? What about you? So meet over here. What about you? You bring this hand under, you cop, and you say, and this is where he took my money. You lean back off the edge of the table, drop these cards down. And I've got these here. You look at them, you look at the audience straight in the face, you say, I was positive that the black card was on top. I was watching them spin. Watching them, I knew top, bottom, top, and I was not getting involved with everybody else's commotion and the excitement of what was going on. All I cared about was doubling my money. And then he stopped. And he placed them on the table just like this. And I put my money down. And that was where I lost. Because there was no jack, there was no king. It was just the two aces. And he swept up the money, dumped it in his rucksack, and threw the cards out into the audience. And left. And then there's some other lines I put on the end that again are very specific to me that I'm not going to include in this because it's very specific to the way that I perform, and it might actually hinder your own performance of the routine if I put them in. But you've done something wonderful by ending it that way. You've made it very much about yourself rather than the audience. Every single magic book, every single teacher will tell you, always make it about the audience, never make it about yourself. It's not an ego trip. But you've got this wonderful situation, it doesn't arise often, to make it about you, but the exact opposite of ego. You're matching the emotions to the audience. You're telling them a story, and as that story unfolds, you're marrying your story of emotions to what they're currently feeling just now. Does that make sense? You're telling them that you felt cheated and you felt deceived and you felt all these emotions, and the audience that you're performing to are feeling the exact same thing. So you've just broken down all their barriers of people are worried about showing emotion when it comes to reacting, right? I've said that in book 1, I've said that in book 2. The only way you're going to get the best reaction is by alleviating and removing certain elements of how they're feeling. By marrying your emotions of the story to what they're currently feeling, now they feel okay to feel cheated, now they feel okay to feel fooled, because the guy who's doing this actually felt the same way and he actually lost money, so if anything they lost nothing, so they're actually better than you because you're the sucker who fell for it. And now it creates this wonderful group feeling where we all felt cheated. It's such a wonderful routine, and it's developed into this, what it is now over the years, from a simple switch. It's a lesson in itself, and I'm going to end it here because I've been through everything that I need to cover off with it. This routine teaches you so many things about performing. You're going to learn, if you get this down right and you spend time with this, you're going to learn movement. You're going to learn holding out. You're going to learn so much confidence. You're literally at one point holding 5 cards as 2. Like, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but fucking hell, like nobody's believing that. Maybe if you say I've got 2 cards here, it doesn't work. You're learning storytelling. This is one of the biggest things that people miss out on. Is there's times you can let the magic happen within the cards, but some of the best routines come from the story you tell with them, and a lot of people forget about that. A lot of people spend so much money and time on just moves for the sake of moves, and they miss out and they wonder why when they do this awesome pass, or no pass is awesome, when they do this awesome move, and then it's just like, alright, that's cool, but the other guy who's doing a simple Monty routine is fucking slaying people. It's not got difficult moves, it's got bold moves, but let it be a lesson to the story you're telling. Like, this story is real, you know? Like, I'm not saying about magic powers, I'm telling you about a time I lost money when I was in New York to scammers. It's real. It's not real, it's fake, it never happened, but it's conceivable. You could believe it, and it's a lot more easier to buy into a story than things fucking teleporting, you know, or believing that you've got magic powers like Shazam. So don't overlook that. Spend some time, if you're going to perform this routine, spend some time developing your own story. Maybe a place that you know very well, a location that you know very well on holiday, that you have an emotional attachment to, so you can then tie that in to something that you're passionate, a place that you're passionate about. Make it real. Make the story real. The visuals of the story are nice and they're there and they work, and there's some moments in there like the first revelation, which I left out the book, where you just miscall but you point with your hands. Again, it's a confidence thing, and this routine is such a lesson in confidence. But that first switch when you put it back in their hand, and they believe it's going to be a second win, and then it's not. Like, that's a miracle moment. Because all you've done is pick up a card, say, yeah, you're right. Oh, it's changed. Like, that's so strong, right? And you can do that through multiple ways of switching cards. But don't underestimate miscalling. Like, such a powerful thing. I'm going to end it here. I've ran about half an hour, which is what I expected. Please take your time with this. If you have any questions at all, hit me up on Instagram. Instagram handles KyleMilne89, and just put the title, if you're sending me a message about this, and you haven't messaged me before, as 9. It's just so that I can add you to, I've got a special group. I get a special notification for people who have bought products from me, and just so they don't get lost in the junk that comes through. But yeah, I'm going to finish it there. Thank you so much for buying this book. I'm still blown away by the first one and how people still continue to buy it each week, and the second one as well. It's such an amazing feeling that people care enough about my thoughts on performance, my thoughts on demonstrations and effects. nobody, including myself, would have thought it'd be possible, but it is, and that's such an amazing experience. And I can't thank yous, the people who buy from me, enough. This was a dream of mine, and you guys have helped me continue on that dream. So on that note, thank you for watching.